If a guy doesn't see a potential for any romantic or sexual encounter to happen, there's no reason for that man to be around. I don't think men and women should be friends. I don't think that they have any use to be friends with one another ever. I don't even think men and women should work together, to be honest with you. I think they should have completely separate workplaces. But anyway, go ahead.
I feel like that's sad because I do feel like women offer, a different perspective. They offer a different wisdom than men do.
You said like dating advice?
Sorry?
You said you offered like dating advice to men or something like that?
No, I said I offer like mentorship for like photography and stuff. I don't specifically offer dating advice.
Oh, I thought you said like dating advice.
I don't know why you said that.
No, sorry. No. Then I misspoke. I misheard you. But why would a man take the advice of a woman on anything? Is my question.
Because you guys, I think, would like to be able to understand women in order to approach a woman so you could potentially have connections to women. It doesn't necessarily have to be dating advice. I feel like it's important to connect to other people. I disagree with you that all of us should just be separate and I shouldn't even work together with men.
Let's continue to go down that route then. How many women have you approached as a man and had a successful result?
I mean, I'm not like 100% heterosexual, so I have had.
But you didn't answer the question.
Experience approaching women, but yes, I'm not a man. No, I'm obviously not a man.
Then what advice could you possibly give a man if you've never done anything as a man? You don't live in. See, that's the point that I'm trying to make. You don't live in the same world that we live in. You don't experience the world the way we experience. You don't have the mind in the brain of a man. You don't have the testosterone. You have no idea. But I have the mind of a woman,
so I have insight into how to connect with a woman.
No, you don't. You don't at all, because you know your brain and your insight as a woman, but you have one example. Your sample size is one. Meanwhile,
I also talk to women and have deep conversations with them, and I am able to have a generalized idea of how most of us would like to be treated and how we would want a man to navigate a relationship with.
Yeah, and women are terrible at telling.
Opinion, but
no, they're really bad at it. Women are terrible at, because this is what we do. Every time we ask women, what do you look for in a man? I want a man that's nice. I want a man that's funny, who's charming, who listens to me when I talk, to be supportive. And then you got this homeless guy who's 400 pounds is like, I can do all those things. And she's like, oh, but not you, because you don't make enough money and you're not tall enough and you're not good looking enough, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because what women think, the only men that exist to a woman are the ones that she's attracted to. And an unattractive man is invisible to you. You don't even see.
I've dated an unattractive man before. Like,
why'd you put unattractive in quotes?
Because
you just putting unattractive in quotes makes me think that you don't even think he's unattractive, because you're saying quote unquote. It's your preference.
Okay.
The point that I'm trying to make here, though, is it's like, if I'm going to catch a fish, if I need to learn how to catch fish, would I ask the fish how it wants to be caught, or would I ask a fisherman that's caught thousands of fish?
I think an understanding of how fish like operate and see the world would be good information to have as a fisherman, though. Like,
that didn't answer my question. Juliet, go on.
Can I say something?
Okay.
So I have a guy best friend. I'm just playing neutral as listen, we ain't got to talk about
here we go.
No.
Continue. Go on.
What I was gonna say is, so when like it comes to a man asking advice from a woman, 9 times out of 10 it is to get a woman. Like, he just asked me how to impress this girl that he's trying to date and whatever. For Valentine's Day, he asked me what he should get her. I haven't been single since I was 15 years old. So I'm like, here's an idea of something to get. It seems like what females seem to be liking anymore. That's the only time I can think of a man asking for a woman's advice is to get another woman. They're not going to take advice from a woman. What? I just said the things that I keep seeing females seem to like. Well, do you want to know what I told them to get?
What things? Oh,
yeah. I guess it's called a boo basket, where they like put a basket. you put all your favorite things in a basket, and anyway, my point is that
men, if you're watching this, Do not get the woman that you're interested in a boo basket. Whatever you do under the penalty of death, do not do that. Juliet, continue.
I was just going to say, that's the only time a man's really going to ask or listen to a woman on advice is when he wants input on another woman.
I understand.
He's not really going to ask about like life advice from a woman. The
point that I'm making, though, is that I would never listen to a woman's dating advice ever, because there's not a woman on this planet who has ever dated, approached, gamed, slept with, married, or had any sort of romantic relationship with another woman as a man. You just can't. You don't have the experience. And a lot of women like to say, well, I know what I like, and I know, okay, and I know my girlfriend's like, fine, maybe your sample size is 1. And I think girls lie all the time about what they want, because what girls really want is different than what they actually choose. I mean, girls don't say, hey, I like a dude that's tatted up and is in jail and that murders CEOs. But guess what? Look at this dude, Luigi, getting underwear mailed to him when he's in prison. So, I mean, what does that tell you? Chris Watts murdered his wife and 2 little girls, and he gets love letters and porn sent to him every day in jail. But women don't say, I love murderers and rapists. Anyway,
and that's
the point that I'm making is, that's a tiny one. That's a tiny one.
Tiny pool of women that do that. Like, I never
thousands.
There's so many women who are obsessed with serial
thousands of women.
So many.
Thousands.
You guys are acting like that's a majority. Thousands out of like hundreds of millions. I know that fans exist of these people.
They're not fans. These are just regular women.
Yes, I take advanced statistic classes.
So you should know all about sample sizes. So you'll really like this next example, because this is all about sample sizes. So let's say you're like, I'm a woman, so therefore I know what women like and I know what they want out of their man they want to date. Even if I granted you that, which I don't, but even if I did, who is more likely to have more experience and be smarter when it comes to women? Somebody who's dated as a man, who's dated 1,000 of them and has dated and bedded 1,000 women, or you, who your sample size is 1, a guy with a sample size of 1,000 or a woman with a sample size of 1? Who is more likely to know what they're talking about?
I mean, based on your hypothetical, I'm just gonna say you. If
but
not you necessarily,
it's a hypothetical. It's a hypothetical,
sure.
But that's a real world example, because there are men out there that have bedded hundreds or thousands of women, and that's absolutely. But you could use that on any example that you want. You're talking about real world experience. So why would a guy ever go to a woman for dating advice when she's never in a million years bedded or dated a woman as a man? It makes no sense. You would go to the man who's done it as a man.
Okay, but I also feel like you offer a unique perspective, and you have specific values and qualities you think are desirable, but a woman like me may not find that ideal of yours to be attractive at all. Like, I may not end up wanting to be with any of the people that you were to give advice to, because I don't agree with your advice.
But the advice is based on
exceptions, but
the advice is based on what actually works. If I've slept with 1,000 women, then I'm probably pretty good at it. And let's just say,
what if those weren't like high value women? What if those aren't someone you'd actually want to marry? And
what's a high value woman?
Someone who isn't going to be a naggy wife or just sit on the couch watching TV all day while you're at work, or is just a negative, draining person and
why would I want
nothing.
That? But that's a very low bar. Like, not be a nag.
I understand. I'm just saying that I think maybe it's easier to be with, or easier to get someone in bed who is negative and not a great person and lonely, versus someone who's comfortable being on their own and does feel like they contribute a lot to society. And
Andy, I appreciate
it's definitely
it,
not easier to get a nagging wife in bed, because the men who are complaining about nagging wives are also complaining about not having sex.
Sure, yeah.
Juliet.
I'm just trying.
No, go ahead. Whatever. Continue. No, well, I'm going to come back to you. Juliet looks like she wants to talk, so please.
I was just going to say, it is pretty, maybe it's not so much easy, but men having a lot of bodies isn't exactly difficult, especially depending on the woman. I mean, it's
extremely difficult.
100%.
Extremely difficult.
I think once you know certain psychology,
On what basis do
it's
you
not that
have?
hard.
On what basis do you
I'm
have to
just
say it's
talking about
difficult?
personal experience. Guys,
But you're not
I
a
mean,
man. I don't
I'm
understand
saying
what
when
we're
I've
doing
talked
here.
to men,
Yes.
they have higher body counts because it's pretty easy to just simply do that versus a woman. I would hope most women at least would be a little bit more concerned about who they're laying down with than just letting anyone and everyone in. But
See, why is that the only option, though? Why is there the assumption that if I've slept with 1,000 women, they're all whores with body counts over 500? See, you see how that doesn't hold water? And here's the thing. What we've done, Juliet, is you've just proved my point, because I just said 5 minutes ago that women are only in the orbit of men that are visible to them or that they're attracted to, which are men that are high status that have the ability to game and bed women. You're not talking to the average dude out there on the street that the last time a woman talked to him was his mother 5 years ago. That's the vast majority of men out there. The vast majority of men are getting no sex or access romantically to women whatsoever. And that's how men end up in sexless marriages with nagging wives, because the first woman that touches them, they go, okay, well, I better put a ring on it. Otherwise, I'm never going to get this again. But yes, like, is it easy for men ever? No. Is there a predictive framework? We say, hey, man, this is what kind of works in this particular situation. I've done these steps in this order. It hasn't worked every time, but 1 out of 3. Honestly, here's the thing. People that do this for a living, guys that do this for a living, that make money off of it, their close rate, 1 in 10.
Do what for a living?
That game women, that go out and teach game, that go out and run seminars, that go out to bars and clubs and pick up women, pickup artists, that teach seminars, that teach men how to do this and go out and pick up women and to date and get laid. Their success rate, 1 in 10. And that's like the best in the world. That's a 90% failure rate.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here, where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.